Hello, I'm Lydia and you're listening to Lens from the Fens. Hi everybody, welcome back to Lens from the Fens. I hope that you're all well and I've been experiencing some nice summer weather. I have certainly had a mixture. I've had blazing hot summer days for one day and then the next day it would be torrential rain. So I've certainly had a big variety in terms of weather. So as I mentioned before, I am back with another season and I am going to start it off with another walk and talk out at a local reserve in the Fens. So this recording was taken at RSPB Frampton Marsh, which is where I have recently got back into doing volunteering again. It's been quite a slow, phased transition in terms of keeping social distancing on the reserve. So a lot of the hides are still out of use and we are still allowing a few people to come in onto the walkways. But otherwise, in terms of like the visitor centre and any of the buildings on site, they are not in use right now. But because we are still receiving visitors, they have decided to do some very short shifts for volunteers who are not at risk and those who are wanting to get back outdoors, back into just doing volunteering at the reserve in general. So I am one of those people. I have been doing 3-hour shifts for once a week since the beginning of July and it's been really good, and I thought while I was there I will do a quick recording of me going around a less well-known part of the reserve which I haven't been on before, and I have my camera with me so I will be talking to you as I walk along and I will be talking in between my recording in terms of if there's any new sightings or a bird call that I later on try to identify. So again, I'm glad to be back. I hope that you're all well and I hope you enjoy this recording. Hello everybody. I've just finished my short shift at RSPB Frampton Marsh. At the time of this recording, we are actually slowly phasing volunteers going to the reserve. I'm just opening a gate. If it let me. Here we go. Come on. So, as I was saying, we're slowly phasing having volunteers at the reserve just to talk to people as they arrive, tell them what's going on. We have a sign outside a visitor centre because that's obviously still closed. And yeah, I've just been there from 9:30 to 11:30 and now I am just going along the hedge trail which goes out and south of the reserve. So the weather's a lot better. I came here for the first time last week since March and it was very wet and it was very windy, but today it's quite pleasant. It's still overcast, but the rain subsided as I arrived and it's pretty much stayed the same. So I'm just going along the trail. The trail actually leads to where there's a corner and it is a place where the turtle doves have been sighted. Yesterday they were seen or heard. So I'm going to head in that direction now. And yeah, fingers crossed. If I can't see them, then I'll hopefully hear them. So I've got my monoscope with me. I take it pretty much everywhere I go in my car. And I've got my good old Canon with me. I haven't got the larger lens, which is the 100 to 400. I have the 75 to 300.
purely because the 100-400 is quite an old model, but it's not behaving as it should. So I've swapped it out for the 75-300 just for now, and we'll hopefully get it sorted at a later date. This is a trail I haven't really been down very much. I think just because I'm more look on the main scrape. I can hear a bird in here, but I can't see it. There's quite a bit of foliage in the way. Looks like a warbler, but it's not staying still long enough for me to get a picture really. It's right over my head now. It's still nearby. Looks like it's just picking bits of food off leaves. Still can't get a good look at it, but it's very pale. If I manage to find a call of it, then I'll be able to tell you in between.
So I tried to find out what that bird call was. It was like a weird croaking sound, and I've been trying to identify it through means of internet and forums and through my bird call identification app, but I can't seem to get a clear enough ID of what it could be. So if anyone listens and you know for sure what that bird call is, then please let me know, as I'm quite intrigued to know what it is that I heard and if it's something I haven't heard or potentially seen before.
So as I was saying earlier, normally I stick to the main reed bed. So today, which is I believe it's the 9th of July, there was plenty of black-tailed godwit. There was a couple of dunlin and knotting amongst them, along with a couple of avocet and oyster catchers, so quite a lot of waders in that area. And then there's been a whooper swan, which is a bit unusual for this time of year. Obviously they're normally a winter visitor. And just another bird I caught sight of, I don't know if it's a... looks like a linnet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a linnet. Shall I add to my list? Yeah, so there was a lot of waders on the scrape, and the whooper, which was in amongst some of the mute, even though it was a bit disliked. There was 4 spoonbills and great crested grebe. The black-necked grebes are here. There's been 2 pairs that are bred again, but they're on the further end of the reserve, so I haven't really had time to go see them myself this year. And plenty of black-headed gulls. You can probably hear them in the distance. Oh, kingfisher! Ah, how lovely. Just zoomed by. Lost my train of thought now. So yeah, in terms, definitely a lot of waders. There was a sedge warbler that was quite nearby. I managed to get quite a nice picture of that while I was on the veranda of the reserve centre. So yeah, it's been quite a nice morning really. I've just seen another bird. Don't know if it's still there now, I think it's gone. But yeah, it was lovely to see a kingfisher, albeit brief. Yeah, that's definitely a linnet as well. So I think I'll carry on. I didn't expect to see the kingfisher. Right, so I'm just coming to a clearing where there's a couple of benches, and I think there's an avocet. There's 2 avocet. So during lockdown they actually bred really well. So I wonder if this is one of the breeding pairs. I think there's another warbler around here as well. Yeah. There's an adult and there's 2 juveniles. So they'll be probably the chicks from this year. There's another warbler that's just come up. Oh, not going to let me get a picture. They're very speedy, that's the only thing with the smaller birds. They don't stick around for very long, but it looks like it's coming back. Could have been a reed or a sedge. Can hear a lapwing around somewhere as well. So I'm going to leave the clearing and see if I can see the avocet further along, a bit closer up. I can see them, but it's not much clearing. I don't know if you can hear that call. I think that's one of the chicks calling to its parent. But there doesn't seem to be a good enough clearing to get a picture. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I managed to get one of the juveniles. And one of them's definitely calling out still. Yeah, so they were one of the successful breeders for this year. It was a wood pigeon. And I think in some cases some of the avocets decided to make their nest along some of the paths. Luckily, obviously, they were closed, but it doesn't seem to have impeded them when people started coming back. It's another clearing. Oh, it looks like one of the avocets have flown off. Another goldfinch. There's plenty of them around. So I can hear both wood pigeon and collared dove. And obviously with the turtle dove, it's a purring noise that I'm listening out for. So even if I hear them, it'll be really nice. But seeing them will be a lot better. So while I'm walking, I'll quickly talk about other future episodes that I'll be recording soon. Oh, what's down there? It's like a pheasant. So I'll talk a little bit about some of the upcoming episodes I'll be recording in the near future. One I definitely want to do is a few tips on how to get yourself prepared for going out for either a photography day or an afternoon or a morning. So in terms of the equipment that I'll take, any emergency equipment that I might need, especially if I'm going somewhere on my own. And yeah, I'll just go through a typical session of how I get ready, what I prepared the night before, what you need to take with you, so definitely things like water bottles and extra SD cards. So I'll go into more detail on that in another episode. And then I hope to do more of this, where I go out and about with my camera and my scope and just take you along with me. And it's just nice to have a bit of a walk and talk and just say what's happening around me. And then from that I'll be able to get some more pictures up related to that episode, so you can see what I photograph while I'm out and about. There's a dunnock just below me. It's quite nice. Their calls are quite distinctive. They're almost as loud as a wren's, which is nice. And obviously they're like a drab, quiet looking bird, but their song sort of compensates for that. I can hear a chiff chaff as well. Just come to a part of the path where all the trees are really mystical and bendy, which is rather cool. Getting quite close to the chiff chaff now. Can't see it yet. It's right above me somewhere. Oh, there it is. It's right at the top of a bare branch, calling, but it's quite a bit of foliage in a way, so I'm not going to be able to get a clear picture, but it's happily calling away. Yeah, definitely can't get a picture. It's the only thing with summer, there's so much foliage and leaves in the way that you can't really get the picture you want. So I'm on a back road now, and I'm walking up towards where the turtle doves have previously been seen. So I'm going to head up that way first. Another warbler around somewhere. I think I can see it now. Could be, there's two of them. And again, they don't stick around for too long. Oh, there's a robin. I'll carry on up the road. Ah, long-tailed tits. I haven't seen them for ages. It's a big flock, very sociable. And in the winter they often search for food with the larger tit birds, so the great tit. I don't know if they're going to stick around long enough for you to get a picture, but certainly try. Looks like there's quite a few juveniles as well. I'm just standing, waiting for them to come out, because they can be quite curious. Right. I'm dealing with quite a bit of backlighting, so preferably I want them where the sun would be. They're still around. There's a juvenile to my right. Let's go beep, beep. I think they're all hiding. I don't want the picture taken. That's fine. I'm at the other end of the reserve now. It's a bit windy actually. So to my left is where I will try and sight them before, the turtle doves. But still I haven't heard anything, so I might just get my scope out first. See if I can see them along there. So I was at that point for about 10 to 15 minutes and I couldn't see nor hear any of the turtle doves at the time. So in terms of what I recorded, there wasn't a lot to talk about or hearing any other birds in general. So I turned back, I went back along the same back road for which I first came up through, and I then proceeded to see if I could find the long-tailed tits again. I don't know if the long-tailed tits are still around. I can still hear one or two. They're all a bit further up, flying ahead of me. Oh, it's loads! Good 15 or so, just all flown out at once. Oh. Here, reed warbler. There's a juvenile preening. Seems a little bit unaware, but still hanging around. There's definitely a flock of about at least 15, if not 20. You can hear them all. Definitely curious, but they're not wanting to stick around very long because they're still a little bit wary. The rain's starting to come in as well, I can feel it. And look at them all, it's just streams. They're all going off to other trees by the looks of it. Yeah, it's definitely more than 20. Yeah, look at them all. Yeah, so they've gone in the opposite direction to where I'm going. So no pictures of them today, well, not very many. Yeah, I've got a couple of the juvenile that was preening. So I'm heading up that same path, back up towards where the visitor centre is. I think during my time in lockdown, I've definitely missed coming to, obviously, outdoor spaces, green spaces. It's just a really nice area. I've been volunteering here for just over a year now, and I've enjoyed every moment, whether it be a rainy day or if not many people have arrived at the reserve. You're always surrounded by nature and all the bird species that we get here, and it's nice to, when people do come, it's just nice to have a conversation with them about something that we're all passionate about in terms of wanting to protect nature, wildlife, and then knowing a bit more about the birds in your local area, because I only knew of the garden birds before I came to Frampton, and then when I did come to Frampton I saw a whole lot more. So I saw the waders and the winter visitors that you don't really get in the garden as you do on a marsh reserve. So yeah, it's the one thing I've missed most about lockdown this year, obviously it's impacted everyone in one way or another, but for me it's been the opportunity to go to the reserves and just watch wildlife thrive, and they've thrived really well while we've all been indoors staying at home.
So as I continued to walk back towards the visitor centre, there wasn't really a lot else left for me to talk about. There was still plenty of goldfinches around, and the linnets were still about, and all the warblers were singing, but were out of sight, so not many images from that either. But it was a nice day. It was still overcast, but as I said towards the end of that clip, I've missed being outdoors as much as I was before, and it's something that I've just wanted to get straight back into as and when I could, whether that be just the volunteering or just going somewhere with my camera for a couple of hours or even half a day. It's just nice to have that sort of freedom again and to just enjoy being in the great outdoors. So just before I round this episode off, there's a few bits of news that I have heard about recently that I am very excited about. One of them isn't in the Fens, it's actually part of the Kent Wildlife Trust, where they are setting up the Wilder Blean project, which involves introducing a herd of bison to that area of the Blean Woods. It's an amazing project. It's all about restoring the ecosystem of an ancient woodland, and this involves introducing one of the largest European mammals that we get, the bison, and the idea of having these magnificent beasts pretty much in the UK. I think when that time comes, I really hope that I can go down there and photograph for myself, because one of my great inspirations is wildlife photographer Morton Hilmer, and he gets bison herds where he lives, and they're just wonderful animals. So, and although I photograph more birds than I do mammals, I just think it would be great to just see them for myself within the UK. So if you want to look that up, just search for the Kent Wildlife Trust, where you can find that project, the Wild Blean project, and others alongside it. And another bit of news that is relating to the Fens, it was actually a programme that was broadcast through BBC Two. I think it was the Friday just gone, so that would be the 10th of July. And it was called A Year in the Fens, and it just captured everything to do about the landscape and the wildlife of the Fens so well. It featured the Welney Wetland Nature Reserve, where they showed images of the cranes that have started successfully breeding there. There was also Wicken Fen, another nature reserve that I would like to visit. It's probably one of the most untouched, undrained parts of the Fens, which is vital for the ecosystems there and the vast amounts of species that thrive within that area. And then one that is a lot more closer to home is to do with a local farmer named Nicholas Watts, who owns the Vinehouse Farm just up the road from me, and it shows his yearly routine of going out, chucking out birdseed for the wild birds like linnets and goldfinches, all around a 10-mile radius of his farm. And he has also been checking on the barn owl chicks that are born and raised on his land each year, and it's just great. I thoroughly recommend you to watch it. I believe it's on BBC iPlayer, but it just encapsulates what I love so much about the Fens, and it's captured so well, going through all the seasons, what you can see, and how wildlife has really benefited from these lands that a lot of people just think is flat and boring. It's not that at all. So yeah, I was really excited about it. I watched it. I could watch it again and again. But yeah, if you want to check it out and get a better idea of the wildlife and the landscape of the Fens, if you don't live in it or you live just outside of it, then just go watch it. That's all I can really say about it. So that pretty much rounds off this first episode for this new season. I have a few more recordings to do in the pipeline, so I hope that you will join me for those. Otherwise, I wish you all well, stay safe, and I shall speak to you all again very soon. Bye! My podcast cover shows my own image created using Canva. The theme music is provided by Purple Planet Music. Check out their royalty-free music at purple-planet.com.